Yeah, Chris Paul shook, and rightfully so. This is the first series in years. Yeah, shook. This is the first series in years Chris Paul's not the best point guard in the series. And he knows it. And Chris Paul also understands the Suns are the better team. The Suns have home court. The Suns have the better roster. The Suns might have the better coach. And that's the exact scenario that led to the Suns losing the finals because a transcendent peak of his powers apex predator took the championship from him. And when Luka Dončić goes 45, 12, and 8 and seems to have left some meat on the bone offensively, did it despite Jay Crowder going full Chris Paul and kicking him in the groin mid-game. Does it despite the fact that Jaylen Brunson can't make a basket to save his life. When all of that happens, Chris Paul, he's not throwing out Theo Pinson's name for no reason. He's doing it because he's trying to play some mind games that will not work with the Dallas Mavericks and most notably with my large adult Slovenian son, who is far and away the best player in this series. This series is going to be a war. This series is going to go 7 games, and Chris Paul knows he will have his hands full. And so that's what that nonsense comment was. Oh, what? They got a lot of good players. Spencer Dinwiddie. Where's the love for Maxi Kleber? Hey, I mean, come on. Tim Hardaway Jr. hasn't played in 3 months. He's a good player, too. So that's what he's doing there, and I get it, and I respect it. He's a savvy veteran. But he knows what a war they have on their hands right now, bro.
Nick, I love you. But the only nonsense was that 3-4 minute soliloquy you just went on. First of all, really good, well-kept secret in the NBA. Theo Pinson, very strong practice player. And CP3 knows that. Very good practice player. So that's what he was referring to. But look, Nick, this is not going 7. This is going 5 at the most. And Chris Paul is annoyed with Dave
5 at the most?
The good buddy Dave McMenamin. 5 at the most. They just beat Dallas for the 10th straight time. All right, 8 of those games Luka Dončić played in. He is not the least bit worried about Luka Dončić, and he's annoyed with Dave McMenamin because it was like, hold on, we just dominated this team. And the goal is to win the game. This is the playoffs. And you're asking me about a guy that we just played like a puppet? A guy that played right into our game plan.
Oh, that's so
Now,
ridiculous.
I'm not saying they wanted to give him 45. No, I'm not saying they wanted to give him 45 points. Luka is a legitimately awesome player. But they clearly, if you look at the highlights we showed at the top of the show, what'd you notice? No double teams. No blitzing. One guy, even if it was Chris Paul, who was giving up half a foot, Chris was guarding him in the post. Their game plan was to guard Luka straight up, let him do what he does. If he gets 40, 45, 50, we'll live with it. But no one else will be involved. No one else will be in rhythm, and we will win easily. And that is exactly what happened and owned it. On the other side of the floor, they attacked Luka like he was a statue. They went at him hard, and they scored at will when he was being guarded, whoever he was guarding against. And so
was he guarding Ayton?
What?
We didn't watch
Ayton wasn't the only one that scored. Devin Booker had 23 points. CP3 had 19 points. Nick, you're not going to go deep in the playoffs playing this way. You know why Jaylen Brunson didn't shoot it well? Because he was out of rhythm. Because he was made to be a spot-up shooter with Luka dominating the rock. Maxi Kleber's fine with that because that's all he can do. But when you can do other things, you're going to be out of rhythm and a bit frustrated when you just stand by the three-point line and wait for Luka to pass you the ball. So it can be all Luka all day, all night, but they're not going to win that way. They're going down in 5 max.
Okay, listen, hold on a second. First, Jaylen Brunson took 16 shots and took 1 3. Jaylen Brunson was not a spot-up shooter all night. That is not what happened. And the most dominant offensive player for the Suns was Ayton on the inside, who Luka wasn't guarding. Listen, Wilds, do you know which game in these playoffs the Mavericks scored the most points? Yesterday. The idea that the Suns' plan was to let the Mavericks score $114 is nonsense. Why did the Mavericks lose? Because their defense What? No, you said he played right into their hands. You said he played right into their hands.
They played Luka straight up. They played Luka straight up and took away everybody else.
I understand that. And my point is...
Because they know one guy's not going to beat a talented five-man team.
But 114
and you're going to see it pretty quickly.
Okay. The reason the Mavs lost was because their defense was awful. This was the most points the Mavs have scored this postseason and the most points the Suns have scored this postseason. The reason this Mavs team is dangerous as opposed to previous year's Mavs teams is because they had a top 6 defense in basketball. The defense was awful. But I'm someone who picked the Mavs to win the series. I will take 114 points every game the rest of the series and be thrilled about it. So the Wilds, did you think the Suns' defensive game plan worked? Or did you think the Suns won because the Mavs' defense was awful and the Suns' offense was spectacular once again? Did you think the Suns are happy with how they defended the Mavericks, giving up 114 and 45 to Luka? Is that what you thought as well?
Okay, so I agree with Monty Williams. Monty Williams thought that they could play a better job on defense, and he said he was not happy with Luka scoring 45, but he was happy that the team only had 16 assists. And he was okay with that. If anything he was upset about was fouling Luka down low and sending him to the free throw line. And Nick, I love you, buddy, but this is one of the most surprising takes I've ever heard from you. And one time you told me that you watch Mission Impossible to fall asleep at night. The action kind of puts you to sleep. And I was like, wow, that's shocking. This take is more shocking because you're a student of the game and you know what it takes to win the championship. And the idea that that Luka is going to carry this team, scoring 45 when the rest of the starters combined for 39 and not moving the ball doesn't make any sense. This was the weirdest stat that is in the game. How many times? Every one of Luka's field goal attempts was off the dribble. Luka never passed the ball, got the ball back, and shot it. It's an odd way to play. It's very reminiscent of old Houston Harden, and I'm surprised that you're in love with it. I know it's a family bond thing with you and Luka's your son, but I'm surprised that you're enamored by this style of play.
Okay, raise your hand if you picked the Mavs to win the championship. All our hands are down, right? I didn't say you can win a championship this style.
The Western Conference.
I think you can win the series. I think you can make the finals. I think that Luka. I'm gobsmacked that you guys watched a guy go 45, 12, and 8, who is now, for the first time, by the way, congratulations, Michael Jordan. You finally have company. For the first time in 35 years, there's someone else's name atop the highest playoff points per game leaderboard. It's Luka Dončić tied with Michael Jordan. And you're right, Brew. Or you would be right if you said, and when Jordan early in his career, he wasn't winning championships. That part is absolutely true. But the idea that this was a successful performance by the Suns on defense, when Luka shoots 50%, goes 45, 12, and 8, that's just not what I saw. I thought the Mavs lost because their defense was awful. I thought it was, Luka said it after the game, Jason Kidd said it after the game. It's also what I saw. I think they will take 114 every game the rest of the way and be thrilled with it.
All right, let me ping a quick theory off of you, Nick. Do you think that it's not like football? It's not the offense comes out, the offense leaves the field, the defense comes out, and they're two separate entities. Do you think that other guys not being in rhythm on offense affects the game on defense too? I think Luka said that they got lazy on defense. Is that because guys aren't in rhythm on offense? Everybody knows that they're like, hey, defensive big man makes the big play, reward them at the end, get them a dunk. That doesn't happen with the Mavs.
Except it. Okay, all right. I don't want to. We can argue about this later. They were just missing shots.
Listen.
Go ahead, Jen.
Go ahead quickly, Broussard.
Michael Jordan. You said it, Nick. Michael Jordan, LeBron James, James Harden, Wilt Chamberlain. None of them could win this way. Luka Dončić is going to do it? No.
I'm not saying they're going to win the title.
Jaylen Brunson was at the three-point line. Get to the finals. They're not even doing that.
Get to the finals.
They're not even getting out of this series.
Well, LeBron did get to the finals this week. And Harden was a game away. And
LeBron was better than Luka.
Big
And
shot.
LeBron played
George is
defense
not good
himself, not just his team.
All right, we gotta move
him
on.
Too.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.